Alright, Exile, so we're back in the world of Path of Exile 2, and Grinding Gear Games just dropped a pretty massive patch, or at least the patch notes for an upcoming patch that's going to make a ton of good changes. This is like Trial of Sekhemas changes, damage tuning, new support gems, just a ton of new stuff coming. They haven't detailed every bit of it, but they detail some of the significant things coming. I'm gonna quickly go over what we have now, which looks pretty big, but yeah, let's dive right into it. I don't want to waste any time because I'm pretty excited. I want to get this video out. Alright, from Path of Exile team, Path of Exile 2 has been live for just over a week. We've addressed some feedback already and are working for more fixes for key pain points in our upcoming patch. The full patch notes are coming soon, but check out some of the more significant changes in the new post. This will be linked down in the description if you want to see and read it yourself. We're going to go over it quickly here, the key points. So first things first, Path of Exile 2 has been live. We just read that. Anyway, gameplay features. Like we mentioned last week, we'll be adding the capacity to fast travel between checkpoints within an area. As well as adding many more checkpoints to areas. Generally, all entrances and exits to areas, meaning if you find these first, you'll be able to instantly travel to them. We'll also be making passive points respecting cheaper, especially at higher levels. It had a relatively aggressive curve, getting more expensive at character levels. Yeah, that is true. We have flattened the curve so that it doesn't exponentially grow as much. This should generally result in approximately 40 to 50% less gold cost for respecting between the start and the middle of the in-game progression. Massive change. That is super good. A lot of players are experimenting right now. A lot of players should not be punished so heavily that they can't actually play the damn game. The amount of comments I get where people are like, I cannot respec, or people starting whole new characters because they could not respec. That is not acceptable. You know, I don't make too many mistakes, and I felt it a little bit too. So I know some of you were like going through it. So definitely big change. That's massive. Big fan of that. Next is probably the most pain point for most of the players right now, and that is Trial of Sekhemas. Players were finding the Trial of Sekhemas particularly frustrating in close range. You don't say. So we reworked how honor damage scales when in close range, as well as fixing an important bug that was causing players to take far too much honor damage from damage over time. Nice. Honor damage now scales down based on distance to the enemies. That's good. When in close range, you'll take 35% less honor damage, tempering off as you are further away from the monster. Fix a bug where damage over time was dealing twice as much damage to honor as intended, and fix a bug where honor resistance was only applying to 2/3 of the damage. This was confusing for us too. Killer Golem no longer use basic attacks and instead use now just explode. Serpent, Clan, Burrows, and Ambushers attack now have improved visual telegraphs and cannot be used from a far away, and volcanoes created by Rattle Cage Fissure Slams are now last half the duration. Big changes, really good. Trial of Sekhemas is one of the biggest things that's gatekeeping players from being able to get a good amount of power. I'm still gonna like slam out my trials with or without these changes, but Sanctum has been notoriously bad for a melee since PoE 1. I'm a little surprised that it's so bad in PoE 2. If Alkaiser and Karn cannot beat them without like trying 10 times, that's a problem, because those guys are significantly better than me and significantly better than the average players, and if they're struggling, we got a serious problem. So I'm glad that they're taking some time to fix it. Really big change. Next, and this is going to be the other thing that I think is really big for other players who are into the in-game, and this has to do with damage. In-game and monster balance. Generally, the balance in in-game maps were more punishing than intended, you don't say. So we toned down the damage in a number of ways and disabled a certain on-death effect where the telegraphs was not as clear as it should have been. Thank God, and it's probably chaos related. Maps no longer have additional elemental resistance penalties inherently applied at tier 6 and 11 or higher maps. It is now consistent across the in-game. Chaos damage now also scales less aggressively over the in-game. Thank you. That is so big. Chaos is what kills most players because it's hard to get, it has less values, and it's harder to like capture because you have like all elemental res and you can cover that. Having chaos damage scaling less is great, and a lot of their telegraphs on the chaos damage was very hard to see. On top of that, on top of being something we have a hard time covering, ridiculous, but good change. Sorry. Critical strikes from monster now deal 40% less bonus damage. Lowered the baseline monster density of breach encounters primarily by reducing the frequency of the elite monsters appearing. Disabled the volatile crystal modifier. We'll visit this in the future pending telegraph improvements. Volatile crystal modifier. Don't know what that is. Purple explosives created by the volatile plant modifier on the red now has dealt significantly less damage. That That is what kills us the most. That thing is chaos, if I'm not mistaken. But that's the little plant thing that follows you around and blow up and do some insane damage. The siphoning flash charge modifiers on monster now drain 10 times less flash per second. This was unintentionally okay, I was wondering, that's the old people don't think it's that crazy, but draining your flash actually really hurts a lot of builds. Like, bro, he would hit me one time and all my flasks are gone. I'm like, what the hell do I do? Do I just leave? I'm just dead. That's a big change. I actually really like that. Everything I saw here so far, these are amazing changes. Like, they're gonna make the game feel a lot better. Like, we're investing so much into like defense. Like, if you're in the in-game, you're investing into HP or energy shield, you're investing into tons of chaos or tons of resistances, and it's like you don't have any space to do anything with your build outside of just trying to survive, and that is not good because it just kills balance. Like, for me, I was thinking, man, Path of Exile 2 has no like build crafting or like just like character building, because I'm just putting nothing but reds on my gear. Maybe this will help and I don't have to overly defend. But yeah, this is a great changes. Sorry I'm a little rambling, but this is super big. I think this is probably the best patch thus far. These changes should generally result in an endgame that is much more survivable than before, and will continue to address problematic cases as they arrive. 10 out of 10. I don't even need to see more, but 10 out of 10. Anyway, characters and item balance. We have made charm modifiers on belt substantially more common and now appear at much lower levels. The symbolism modifier now appears from level 23 onwards, and the of inscription modifier now appear from 64 onwards. Electrocute is now 25% harder to build up, but the damage penalty has been removed from the support gem. Added a new lightning damage and electrocute cluster to the passive tree in between the ranger and the monk section. Okay, so they're getting a whole new passive area. It is now more difficult to chain freeze enemies by reducing the amount of freeze buildup applied after freeze has been applied. I don't do a lot of freeze stuff. The hunter talisman notable now grants +1 charm slot. The small passive skill leading to it now grants the stat is formerly given that it formerly gave. The charm helper text has been updated to indicate that you cannot have more than 3 charm slots unlocked, so that we can add more sources of that in the future. Interesting. I feel like charms don't do anything in the game. I'm just saying. I feel like my charms do nothing. I'll have full charm slots and they just don't heal me at all. Don't help me at all. But maybe I just don't see it. Who knows? Anyway, skill and support gem balance. Let's talk about this because they're adding more skills, which is really cool. Since launch, we've unfortunately had to nerf a few skills that were too overpowered. How do we define overpowered? Basically, it's a situation in which a certain skill is so powerful that players feel no other method of playing the game is viable. I you know, people don't hate that, but personally, I think this is fine. I'm fine with them nerfing builds. They need to be good, but not overly powerful. Because right now, like the Merc, what were you gonna play? Like, realistically, what was everyone playing? Don't bullshit. You're all gonna play the Grenadier playstyle because it's overly powerful. Yeah, I don't like it, but it's overly powerful. The cast on crit or cast on whatever it is, the meteor, it was overly powerful. Like, come on, you know it was too powerful. You're not gonna play anything else. Bring that down, bring other things up, and this is what this is for. I know people are gonna get mad at me for saying it because it hurts your feeling and it hurts your build, but this is actually good. Anyway. Generally speaking, we are trying to do this in a way that doesn't feel a bad build, but we can make mistakes. Ideally, and any true meta shifting changes will only happen at the same time as a content patch with a new league to play in. But this doesn't mean we haven't been looking at underpowered skills and support gems. We've got a number of changes planned which should improve some of the skills. The full list of changes will be in the patch note, but this is sample what to expect. So there's going to be a lot more things than what we're seeing here. Ideally, they'll buff my build. Improvements to rolling slam and all shield skills in the mace section. Great. Improvements to various bow skills, especially the skills used to generate frenzy charges. Improved to bone spells and chaos damage over time spells in the occult section. Improvement to various crossbow skills, especially those at higher tiers. Please do. And improvements to some of the underachieving quarterstaff abilities. Quarterstaff abilities. Nice. Looks good. Really need to improve the warrior. He sucks early game and he sucks mid game. Alongside all the skill improvements, we've also done a pass over the support gems. We added 2 new supports and removed or lessened the penalties on many others, notably the fire, lightning, and cold exposure support. So Bit of a Sork nerf to some degree, I guess. Added the Trimmer support gem, which can be used to give multiple more aftershocks to skills with a damage penalty. Ooh, that sounds good. Adding the Biting support gem, which can be used to give more damage to the command skill of support minions. Don't know what that is. Don't play minions. The fire exposure, lightning exposure, and cold exposure supports no longer penalize damage of supported skill. They now have a mana Oh, I guess they're getting a buff then. That's a buff, sorry. That's not a nerf. You just gotta deal with mana, but you don't care about mana. You just don't lose damage, and you just gotta deal with mana. I think that's sick. Alright, really good. There are also some notable nerfs to a few of the remaining overachieving skills. Please don't touch my skills. First, Skeletal Arsonist Spirits costs now match the other 2 Skeletal Mages. This should result in a slight decrease in the number of Arsonists on at the higher level. Ghazi is rolling in his sleep right now. A nerf to the damage over time components on very high level of Tornado and Vine Arrow. These were never intended to be dealing damage themselves, but more act as a way for other skills to propagate damage. And Magnetic Salvo can now only use your struck lightning arrow as opposed to created by your party members. Sounds like something Imperium's probably doing. Anyway, as we wind down for the holiday season, we want to thank you all for your most successful launch so far. We could not have done it without you all and your support. A lot of our team will be a lot of our team will begin to take some much needed rest over the next few weeks. We look forward to getting back to the new year to refresh, get ready for exciting year of development in 2025. Happy holidays, Exiles. Nice. Glad to see the team taking a break. Things are probably going to slow down for just short of all of us, so kind of expect it. With that said, a lot of great things here. I don't really have anything to complain about. Glad to see that they're buffing while nerfing. This is a problem that Diablo 4 have. Sorry, I know this goes back to Diablo 4. I always do this. You know, I love the game, but Diablo 4 has this problem where they always nerf and they don't buff. A lot of games have this problem where they nerf and they don't buff. They're nerfing and they're buffing. They're rebalancing, and I think that's fair. As far as I'm concerned, if they nerf my build, that's fine. Just buff everything and make things feel good. Trials being much easier for players. Super good. The balance on the end game is going to make builds way more viable. Character and item balance. None of this stuff really affected me. You know, more skill gems and balancing. This is big. This is going to be super big for the game. Overall, this is nothing but great buffs. Let me know down in the comments what you think. But yeah, I'll have this link down in the description. A lot of great changes. I'm loving what the team is doing. They're doing a great job. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video very soon. Really good stuff here. Later.